Hey Brad, thanks for getting this in. So I just wanted to give you some quick technical feedback. So you did a lot of shots here, which is great because you're supposed to, of course. And you did move your lights around, which is good because you have several different results here. You said that you were trying to shoot his dominant eye, which you really were able to do in all cases because this is his dominant eye. So that's great. And you also had your subject further away from your background, so that's great. That's a good improvement. And then, so here's my technical feedback for you. I think that you could have had a darker background, which my impression is that's what you wanted for the mood. And the way that you would do this is you would flag this light and this light. So they're on your subject, but they're not hitting your background. And then you would check for it by using your light meter in incident mode. You go ahead and meter right by the background and make sure that your exposure suggestions were much different than what you were getting when you meter your subject. Okay, and so so we're still seeing a lot of texture and stuff on the background, which can be distracting. Not on all the images though. In this image, it's working out beautifully, and he is actually lit brighter in this image than he is in this image. So the lights here are lighting him and the background, not just him, whereas here, all of the light power is just on him. It's not on the background anymore, and I think that adds considerably to the mood. That's a good thing. And here too. That's great. So I can see that you had some trouble, I can see by reading and also by looking, that you had some trouble with your model sitting still. So just so you know, exposure settings with shutter speed below 1/60th of a second with a human model are just a no-no. You're just going to see movement. I mean, when I enlarge these, I can see that there's a lot of blurriness that is definitely the result of him moving. It's not your camera, it's him. They look good at this size, but when I enlarge them to full size, I mean, he's moving. You know, and I honestly, at 1/10 of a second, I think he did okay, but I can still see that he's moving. You know, that just wouldn't fly with a client. So remember, the cutoff for human subjects is 1/60th of a second. Let's see, what else did I want to talk to you about? I think that you did really a pretty good job with your lighting setups. You're getting a nice high ratio here, which is a good way to really show the topography of somebody's face, to show every fine detail, which you know from the lectures. And the book, the textbook. And you're doing that here. You've got a really strong, like 1:5 ratio at least here. And here, this is probably like 1:3. And here, again, we're about 1:3. This is really fun because this is split lighting, what you've done here. You have a light on this side and a light on this side. This is the stronger of the two right here. This is the key light. And then this would be the fill. However, the fill is strong enough so it's acting as split lighting. So what is in shadow is the middle of his face. And I always think that this adds a lot of very pleasant drama to a photograph. If you're trying to really capture every detail of somebody's face, having the shadow part right in the middle up front, I think is actually a really nice, smart way to do that. Unfortunately, you got too much fall off onto the background and it's just a little bit too light. This image would be your best if the background was this dark. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so my suggestion is for future shoots, start thinking about using flags. Flags are the tool that we use to block unwanted light in the scene. And then also remember to use your meter not just on your subject, but on your background too, so you know exactly what's going on there. Because you might not see it in your LCD. On the camera, it might not show up as well, and then when you put them on the computer later, you'll find out. I always shoot tethered to a computer, so I have a gigantic shot right on my huge monitor right off the bat when I'm in the studio, so I can see these things. Other photographers rely really heavily on their histogram, which is really another nice way to preview, but your LCD isn't going to give you a good idea of whether or not you've got too much fall off on your background. Okay, otherwise, nice job. Thank you, Brad. This is really fun to look at.